blue and purple stains all up his ribs. Tender to the touch and no mistake, but it didn't feel like anything was broken. His leg was a mess, torn and bloody from the shanker's teeth. It hurt bad, but his foot still moved well enough, and that was the main thing. He'd need his foot if he was going to get out of this. He still had his knife in the sheath at his belt, and he was mightily glad to see it. You could never have too many knives in Logan's experience, and this was a good one, but the outlook was still bleak. He was on his own, in woods crawling with flatheads. He had no idea where he was, but he could follow the river. The rivers all flowed north, from the mountains to the cold sea. Follow the river southwards against the current. Follow the river and climb up into the high places where the shanker couldn't find him. That was his only chance. It would be cold up there this time of year, deadly cold. He looked down at his bare feet. It was just his luck that the shanker had come while he had his boots off, trimming his blisters. No coat, either. He'd been sitting near the fire. Like this, he wouldn't last a day in the mountains. His hands and feet would turn black in the night, and he'd die bit by bit before he even reached the passes, if he didn't starve first. Shit, he muttered. He had to go back to the camp. He had to hope the flatheads had moved on, hoped they'd left something behind, something he could use to survive. That was an awful lot of hoping, but he had no choice. He never had any choices. It had started to rain by the time Logan found the place. Spitting drops that plastered his hair to his skull kept his clothes wet through. He pressed himself against a mossy trunk and peered out towards the camp, heart pounding, fingers of his right hand curled painful tight around the slippery grip of his knife. He saw the blackened circle where the fire had been, half-burned sticks and ash trampled round it. He saw the big log 3 trees and Dow had been sitting on when the flatheads came. He saw odd bits of torn and broken gear scattered across the clearing. He counted 3 dead shanker crumpled on the ground, one with an arrow poking out of its chest. 3 dead ones, but no sign of any alive. That was lucky. Just lucky enough to survive, as always. Still, they might be back at any moment. He had to be quick. Logan scuttled out from the trees, casting about on the ground. His boots were still there where he'd left them. He snatched them up and dragged them onto his freezing feet, hopping around, almost slipping in his haste. His coat was there too, wedged under the log, battered and scarred from 10 years of weather and war, torn and stitched back together, missing half a sleeve. His pack was lying shapeless in the brush nearby, its contents strewn out down the slope. He crouched, breathless, throwing it all back inside. A length of rope, his old clay pipe, some strips of dried meat, needle and twine, a dented flask with some liquor still sloshing inside, all good, all useful. There was a tattered blanket snagged on a branch, wet and half-caked in grime. Logan pulled it up and grinned. His old, battered cookpot was underneath, lying on its side, kicked off the fire in the fight, maybe. He grabbed hold of it with both hands. It felt safe, familiar, dented and blackened from years of hard use. He'd had that pot a long time. It had followed him all through the wars, across the north and back again. They had all cooked in it together, out on the trail, all eaten out of it. Fawley, Grim, the dog man, all of them. Logan looked over the campsite again. 3 dead shanker, but none of his people. Maybe they were still out there. Maybe if he took a risk, tried to look. No. He said it quietly under his breath. He knew better than that. There had been a lot of flatheads, an awful lot. He had no idea how long he'd lain on the riverbank. Even if a couple of the boys had got away, the shanker would be hunting them down in the forests. They were nothing but corpses now, for sure, scattered across the high valleys. All Logan could do was make for the mountains and try to save his own sorry life. You have to be realistic. Have to be. however much it hurts.